咱是灵魂快乐逍遥，笑哈哈。再出发，再出发吧，你是阮的第一名。天公着听这款命，把艰苦当作跳恰恰。不免惊，不免惊啦，咱是勇敢的小飞侠，带着钢盔甲伊拼，人讲无惊袂出名。我有信心打袂停，我有人生做风看，不愿浪费青春生命，歹名声。我有姑娘咧爱我，我有幸福咧作伴，我要予伊日子过着快活，惜命命。再出发，再出发吧，帮我擦汗挥着花。不管风波这呢大，为了将来嘛着行。要出发，要出发啦！帮我鞋子擦亮它，若无实力免操蛋，有影脚来吃枪声。再出发，再出发啦！要摕冠军第一名，天公着听这款命，把艰苦当作跳恰恰，不免惊。小飞侠，带着钢盔甲伊拼，人讲无惊袂出名。风大雨大太阳大，双脚大声双着赢，不管这条路有偌歹行，拢不惊。人看着阮嘛皮皮喘，咱是灵魂快乐逍遥，笑哈哈。我有信心打袂停，我有人生做风看，不愿浪费青春生命，歹名声。天大地大我上大，歹人看着阮嘛。咱是灵魂快乐逍遥，笑哈哈。我有姑娘咧爱我，我有幸福咧作伴，我要予伊日子过着快活，笑命命。风大雨大太阳大，双脚大声双着行，不管这条路。我歹行，拢不惊。 咱是灵魂快乐逍遥，笑哈哈。再出发，再出发吧，你是阮的第一名。天公着听这款命，甲艰苦当作跳恰恰，毋免惊，毋免惊啦。咱是勇敢的小飞侠，带着钢盔甲伊拼，人讲无惊袂出名。我有信心打袂停，我有忍心做风看，不愿浪费青春生命，歹名声。我要予伊日子过着快活，惜命命。再出发，再出发吧，帮我擦汗挥着花。不管风波这呢大，为了将来嘛着行。要出发，要出发啦，帮我鞋子擦亮它。无实力免操蛋，有影卡来才呛声。再出发，再出发啦，要摕冠军第一名。天公着听这款命，甲艰苦当作跳恰恰。毋免惊，毋免惊啦，你是勇敢的小飞侠。带着钢盔甲伊拼，人讲无惊袂出名。风大雨大太阳大，双脚大声上着赢。不管这条路有偌歹。看着阮嘛皮皮喘，咱是灵魂快乐逍遥，笑哈哈。我有信心打袂停，我有忍心做风看，不愿浪费青春生命，歹名声。咱是灵魂快乐逍遥，笑哈哈。我有姑娘在爱我，我有幸福在作伴。我要予伊日子过着快活，笑命命。风大雨大太阳大，双脚大声上着行。管这条路有偌歹行，拢毋惊。
Hello, good evening, dear Sarawakian. How are you? Hope everyone stays safe and healthy. We meet again on Facebook Live tonight. Before we proceed with our FB Live, do help us to like and share with your friends and family members so that our FB Live will cover more audience locally and overseas. We really need everyone to help us to deliver our top priority in quest of independent Sarawak for the coming PRN 12. Please sponsor us financially. Do scan the barcode on the right button when it appears on screen later, yeah? We want Sarawak independent. Thank you for your cooperation. Yeah, tonight we are going to discuss and share about land and property in independent Sarawak. Please stay tuned with us tonight till the end. Tonight, we do have special guests who will share on the land and property in independent Sarawak. We do invite our first speaker, Ms. Deborah Chong. She is Central Committee Media and Publicity Assistant. Please welcome Ms. Deborah.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Deborah. Talking about property, I do believe some of us might encounter the housing general issue. In your opinion, Ms. Deborah, what are some of the general problems you see in our housing in Sarawak?
I will limit my answer to two major problems that I have seen in Sarawak that a lot of Sarawakians are facing right now, where housing is concerned. Firstly, there are still a lot of Sarawakians who still cannot afford to own a place that they can call home. Secondly, a lot of rural areas do not have access to basic necessities such as water, electricity, and this not only happen in rural areas, guys. It even happened in Miri City. They also do not have proper road access and are usually prone to flooding due to the lack of proper drainage. Now, I'm going to tell you a story on Miri Tudan. Few weeks ago, we carried out food bank charity, and it was then that we found out that in Tudan area, there are still many households that do not have access to electricity and water. This is happening not just in rural areas, as I mentioned, but also in Miri City. And Tudan is only 20 kilometers from Miri town area, guys. Look at our neighbors, Singapore and Brunei. They really take good care of their people. Singapore doesn't even have rich natural resources like Sarawak, yet they are able to take very good care of their people. They are even ranked as top city in Asia in terms of quality living. And Brunei, the government provides subsidized housing to all of their people so that they can all own a home without charging them interest. Now, Brunei produces only 1/8 of oil compared to Sarawak. In published reports, Sarawak produces around 850,000 barrels of oil, while Brunei produces just over 100,000 plus barrels of oils. So shouldn't it be RM1 ringgit in exchangeable for Brunei $8? Is Sarawak that poor to the point that we do not have funds to develop and help our own people? Sarawak has natural resources such as oil and gas, and not only that, we have income from timber, agriculture, and many other more. The Sarawak state government and Malaysian federal government, they do include in their respective budgets allocations of funds to develop rural areas. Each year, there are funds allocated for road constructions, installation of electricity and water, and generally to upgrade and improve the infrastructures. And yet, why is it that after 58 years, basic necessities such as electricity and water are still not available for many of our Sarawak people? Why is it still so difficult for so many of Sarawakians to own a home? Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, as you have shared, a lot of houses in rural area, including at long houses, do not have basic necessities such as electricity and water. May I know what are your suggestions to improve this, Ms. Deborah?
When PBK forms the government of Sarawak, this issue on owning a home and having access to basic necessities such as water and electricity would definitely be on top priority of our agenda. These are basic needs. When basic things such as water and electricity and a roof over our heads have been established, we can then move forward to rebuilding our nation, correct?
Yeah.
An area that which will benefit greatly will from having electricity is the digital world. Now everything is done online, such as studying and working, so we need electricity to be able to have internet connection. When our Sarawak people, they are well taken care of in these areas, we can then switch our focus from these basic things onto education, to educate and training our people in the rural areas with the digital skills that are needed, such as digital marketing, website development, virtual customer service, AI, and many more. So other developed countries can then hire them as their remote employees, and then they can even earn a living internationally and also be more competitive on a global level. They would be able to earn international income in the comfort of their own home, and thus building up the economy of Sarawak, and while at the same time improving their standards of living. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Deborah, for your sharing and elaborate on the general problems and how to improve on housing when PBK in Independent Sarawak.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And now I'm honored to invite another guest. She's one of the most famous queen of property in Sarawak. She is very well versed in buying and selling the property. She is Jamin Teo in Parti Bumi Kenyalang. She is our Treasurer General. Please welcome Jamin Teo.
Hello, good evening to all my Sarawakian family and all who are tuning in tonight. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, before the pandemic, most of our Sarawakian hardly own a house. But during this period of time, some even rent a house, which is also a challenge for them. Can you share why a lot of Sarawakians still do not own a house, even an affordable home? Why is that so?
Okay, thank you, Eric. Sarawakians are facing few challenges to own a house due to one of the reasons is because of income is very low and low salary. And a lot of them are high commitment as well. And houses are more and more expensive now with the increase of building materials such as steel and cement. And let's look at how much salary for a university graduate that can earn today. A fresh graduate from a university, they get a first job. I think the salary is about 1,500, 1,600. I just employed one of the university Unimas fresh graduates, and the salary is about 1,400, 1,500. Even though to own an affordable house, as we normally heard about low-cost house, low-cost plus house, and I think this is also quite challenged for them to own that. Now our Sarawak government got implements an affordable house scheme named Scheme Rumah Spectra under the Ministry of Housing for the first home buyers. In details, there are 3 types, and then number 1 is Spectra Lite. For a monthly household income not more than 4,000 to buy a house, and which the selling price is from 100,000 and above. The second type is Spectra Medium. For a monthly household income not more than 5,000, which the selling price is from 135,000 and above. And number 3 is Spectra Plus. That is for the monthly household income not more than 6,000 to buy, which a selling price from 150,000 and above. And there are still a lot of and many type of affordable house, namely Prima Home, Sri Pertiwi houses, that all are selling below 250,000. But still a lot of people cannot buy a house. Why? Because our Sarawakian income are so low, earning only enough for living. Every day we have just received an inquiry. I myself, every day I receive a lot of inquiry. The people Sarawak here would like to buy a house. After I have interviewed them, asked them for their present salary slip to me, and almost 60% of the young couple earning, each one of them is about 1,600, 1,500. And both the couple add up together is about 3,000 plus, and some have car loan commitment. Then they are not qualified to buy an affordable house, even they want to buy a low cost house. Some of them may want to apply the LPPASA, the government loan, if they are government servants, but also cannot approve because due to too many commitments, like the potongan inside the salary, such as insurance, angkasa, LTAT, peruntukan, etc., left little gaji bersih. So do you know owning a car now is also quite difficult, because it is must have a minimum salary of 3,000. Only you can own a car, can get a car loan approved. So if you don't have a salary 3,000 and above now, it's hardly to get a car, higher purchase loan. We don't talk about a housing loan. Yeah. All right, Eric, thank you.
Yeah, Jamie. If our Sarawakian having a low salary if compared to high price house, will be easy for Sarawakian to get housing loan so that everyone can own a home, Jamie?
To apply a bank loan now at our local bank branch in Sarawak, okay, the local bank now is they don't have the authority to approve. They're only collecting buyers' documents, okay? And they have to assess their credit and then to qualify them, then only to submit to HQ, that is KL. It is difficult to apply in a way and take longer time because everything now have to centralize it in KL, in Malaya. Our local bank now in Sarawak branch has no right to do the approval. So we have to, every time we have to wait from the KL side. The officer in Malaya, they don't know you. They don't know who I am. And they won't feel sorry when you cannot get loan approved. They will only look at the paper. Your paper profile is very sweet, then they will approve it. If your paper profile not very good, and then they will just reject it. Okay. Yeah. So that's why nowadays business are become more and more difficult. And how difficult we are now. Everything controlled by Malaya. How are we Sarawakian can excel? And how are we going to expand our business? Look. True. When a lot of loan not approved, it is also affecting our developers as well. Because when the people cannot get loan approved, they cannot afford to buy. And developer also suffering. Operation was stuck because of house cannot sell, not enough cash flow turnover on the site progress. You still remember last time we have our own local bank, namely Kuomin Bank, Watak Bank, Ho Hua Bank, Chu Kian Lim Finance, Delta Bank. You still remember?
Yes.
And I still remember those days to borrow money from bank or to get a business loan. Also no need security because the local bank people, they know our people here. They know what we are doing in Sarawak. The local bank help our own people, enable them to start a business. However, as years goes by, went on, somehow decentralizations by Malaya. They want us to merge. Then everything must go through KL. So now, everything when centralized to in the Malaya, they're able to control from there. So paying housing loan bank interest now is about 3%, and SME loan is about 4 to 8%. Different banks have the different rates. Even though government loan also need a fixed rate of 4%. So to boost the economy, the current economy, that is our current government should give a free interest to all the people, including the SME during this pandemic. The backbone of the economy, the country is about 1.1 million SME, represent around 97% of all businesses in the country that had contributed roughly 38% to Malaysia's total gross domestic product last year in 2020. However, it has been severely hit by the pandemic's various lockdown measures and restrictions on the non-essential businesses, with around 100,000 of companies having ceased operations since the first MCO. Don't you think that the operation since the first MCO, do you think the government needs to provide assistance and solve their problems and challenges? Why don't give free interest to all the housing loan payer and SME loan, especially the 6 months moratorium campaign? Why still charge interest? People are suffering. Some of them even lost their job. People living in the deep, difficult time. All expenses still have to pay, and yet the shop have to close down. Cannot operations, cannot do business, and yet still have to pay every month the bank interest. Why we keep on stressing? We need to be independent. When PBK is the government, we will ensure to subsidize house for our people and to give them a free loan interest to pay in 20 to 30 years installment and encourage every Sarawakian to own a home. Everyone needs a home. How can we Sarawakian, we people live in our rich oil and gas motherland, and yet we are so poor, even cannot afford to buy a house? When we are in independent Sarawak, we will definitely can own a house. We will give you a house. We force you to own a house like how Brunei did to his people. If you cannot afford, we will look into subsidized housing to build council house like what Singapore did to build a council house for their people. When we PBK formed the government, your car also no need so expensive, If we can get rid of the AP, we can save at least 300%. We can buy car like Brunei. We can buy all the brand new car, original car. No need to buy second-hand car or recon car. Yep. Do you know that our car is the most expensive in the Southeast Asia? Because of AP here, AP there. If you want to know more about the car AP, go to our last FB Live and the YouTube to listen to it. Okay, we talk about in Sarawak. Actually, there are still a lot of native people that got land, but they cannot build it, develop it because native land must be built by a native builders or native developers. Non-native cannot build and develop the land. Yeah. Thank you, Eric. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Jemintiu. Eventually, we are still below average salary versus high housing price to make us unable to own a house. So we are forcing some of them don't have a house. This statement would make us more happy, forcing us to own a home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We are pleased to welcome Mr. Raymond, Parti Bumi Kenyalang, Director of Political Affairs, Kuching. Hi, Mr. Raymond.
Hi.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, he has a construction and development background for many years, and I believe he can share with us about the land matters. Yeah, before constructing any buildings on the said land, can share with us on the issue of the land development. What are the challenges faced when developing native title land, Mr. Raymond?
Good evening. Thank you, Eric. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome.
Sarawakians, good evening. Welcome that I'm able to come tonight to share some information with you on native land development. When we talk about land development in Sarawak, we have to look at two parts of land development. One is you're talking about land development for the mixed zone, and the other one you're talking about land development for the native. Because why do we have these two parts? Because a lot of the land is classified under native title land. That's why that portion of land development for native land comes in. Okay, for development of native land, there are many conditions where the Ministry of Housing has put on. Just like just now when Jamie has said, to develop a native land, you have to have a native company. Okay, let me give you what a native company is. Take for example, now if you have a Bumi Putra company fulfilling all the Bumi Putra condition, it is still not a native company. It's still not given the right to develop native land. But that the Bumi Putra company, you have, in order to qualify to be a native company to develop native land, then you have to submit the company to the state secretary, and you have to fulfill the condition of a native company to deliver native land. This is the housing policies, and we have to submit the company to the state secretary department for approval. Only upon approval, then you are given the right to develop native land. Oh, that is very important. Bumi Putra company cannot develop a native title land, unless it is gazetted. Once the approval is gazetted, then the company becomes a native company given the right to develop native land. So that is very important. Okay, let's talk about the procedure of the developing the native land. Take for example now, landowner A, he got a piece of land, he signed a joint venture with this native company for a joint development into a housing, in the residential purposes. So in order for that native company to develop that piece of land, that native company have to submit that landowner A's land together, to land and survey, and also at the same time to the state secretary for approval, so that the state secretary will have the right to decide whether it is a genuine development or anything else. So if that thing means that the state secretary has a right to reject that development, even though that native company has been given the right to develop, but there may be occasion where they may reject it, or for reason of which they will give. But anyhow, so once that piece of land goes before the state secretary together with the company, then after that is approved, it will be gazetted. Once it's gazetted means that native company has the right to develop landowners A piece of native land. So that's how it goes. After that is done, then the whole process goes to land and survey. Then you begin the process of land subdivision plan, following the land division, no, land state planning units requirement, then you submit your what I call the planning section. You're following all these things. Okay, to develop native land, there is a condition where all native land, when you develop land, you can either keep it and develop as native land. Means that all the units come out to be still will be giving native condition. The other one is that you convert the native land and reclassify it into mixed zone land. The minute when you reclassify native title land into mixed zone land, there is a condition you have to follow. There are two conditions which the land and survey or the state planning department requires this native company to have. First is a 30% must be low cost. Secondly, 30% reserved for Bumi Putra. So these are the two conditions which ties down for native land development. So because of this, it makes native land development, first thing, is very tedious in application. You have to go through all the procedure, all the process in order to be given the right to develop the land. Secondly, the process in getting it done is quite tedious, quite long. And finally, it is the native land, the low cost unit plus the Bumi Putra unit. That is going to be a factor that is going to affect the property developer, because why? It makes it not feasible, or in a way not feasible to develop native land. Because of this, that's why a lot of native land is not being developed, it's lying idle down there. Some of them are very, very close to town, very, very urban, but yet the land is not being developed because of this condition attached to this native land development when you reclassify it. But if you don't reclassify the land into a mixed zone land, then you are stuck. For example, now, if 1 acre of native land, you can build, for example, 10 units. If all the units are native, you can only sell to Bumi Putra. So the question now is that only Bumi Putra can buy those units. So it leaves the developer with problem of selling because the non-Bumi are not able to buy. So it means that the developer will be selling to only a certain segment of the market. So in that way means that the potential to sell the units has dropped. So in that way, then the developer is left with a high holding cost, because you cannot say, okay, I just built the whole thing. You must build the whole unit. For example, now you have 10 acres, you must finish the whole 10 acres unless you go by phase. So when you finish the whole 10 acres, if your offtake is low, then the developer will tie down with heavy costs. Because land development, housing development is capital intensive. It's huge amount of money involved. So because of this, so it makes it very difficult for native company even to develop native land, because why? It's the holding cost. It's going to get them and affect them. So that is the reason why native land we have an issue in developing because of the conditions set by the government. Thank you, Eric.
Oh, wow. That's great information for the conditions. And it will be a long process on the native land, yeah, Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
But the land and sign joint ventures with native companies. So what about native customary land, more commonly referred to as NCR land, compared to native title land? Can you briefly tell us about the differences and whether they can be presented for development, Mr. Raymond?
Okay. For NCR land, or sometimes they call it communal land. For communal land, there is no title. All communal land, there is no title. It belongs to a community. So that is an issue where all those people who own the land, they don't own a title. So for communal land, there is no transaction. You cannot transact, you cannot buy, and you cannot sell. That's why, because first thing is that it has no title. When you got no title, means you don't have ownership to it. So it means nobody will buy. Even though there is a condition down there that there's no transaction, no buying and selling, but at the end of the day, it's still you can't transact because there's no title. But for communal land, of course, there is a way, which they can still go for a development, and that one is usually done through LCDA. LCDA is Land Custody Development Authority, or it is a government statutory body. They can talk to the communal and all sit down and agree on it, and then do a joint development. Usually, they will work out the situation and how it's going to be developed. So that kind of thing, it can be done, but it also has to be submitted to the Chief Minister's Office approval, because these are all very sensitive issues. So there are so many things they need to consider, even to develop communal land or NCR land through LCDA. They still have to extinguish all those NCR rights, NCR things in order, and they have to gazette it and all these things before it can be done. So in a way, means there is a limited window for communal land to be developed, but through what they call government statutory body and through the approval of the Chief Minister's Office. So that is how difficult it is to develop communal land. It's so much more difficult because there's no land title, no bank will going to give you a loan because there's no title, there's no value to it. So that is an issue that we need to address. But the question now is this: can we continue to have that kind of behavior when the people has got so much land, but yet at the end of the day, these people are so poor? A lot of them are living at poverty, below poverty. Some of them are just subsistence level. Only a few of them are not doing a bit okay. So what is it that these people, they got so much land, but yet they are not able to realize it. They're not able to see the value in the land. So is it because of the problem, because of their inability? I don't think so. I think it has got to do with our land policy, the things that we need to address. And that is one way that we as the government, we need to enhance. We need to help them and become the enhancer to make sure that we create value for the land. So what we're going to do now is that at the moment, nothing is done because for so long it has not been done. When Parti Bumi Kenyalang forms the government, this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at all the NCR land, the communal land. We're going to survey it out. Once we survey it out, we're going to issue title to them. We're going to issue the title to them. These people who own ownership, they're going to hold the title to it. That is very important.
Wow.
Secondly, these people with the land, they have the option to develop it. Means that the land can be converted into mixed zone land for development. That's how we need to do. We need to create value for the people. They own so much land. So much land belongs to them. And yet today, they are the most neglected lot. What happened? It's because they are not able to capitalize and create value for the land. Something is wrong. It is because of red tape, the law. So if something is wrong, we have to change it. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is fixed. We need to change it. So when Parti Bumi Kenyalang forms the government, we're going to address it. We're going to make sure that these people, we're going to bring them out and make them and create value for them. That is what we're going to do. Thank you, Eric.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Raymond. No value for the no title land. That will be a good news if NCR land will get title native land when PBK forms a government. So we need to support PBK for the coming PRN 12. Yeah, since we are on the subject of the issuance of land title, there has been a lot of talk about the time periods of leases. May I invite Jamie to share generally on this? Jamie, please.
Yeah, thank you, Eric, for the questions. And all the while, there are a lot of noises on the extension of our land. Our people, our landowners always complain and concern why Sarawak government only gives 60 years lease instead of 999 or freehold. And at the present, all the renewal of the land title is at discretion of the land and survey as to how long. Normally, they will give as long as the same lease period as the existing one with the payment of premium. And let me give you an example. If there is a parcel of land, normally we call it a parent lot. We can build many houses, apartments on this piece of land. When the individual title will be issued to each of these apartments or the houses, it will become 60 years lease normally in Sarawak. But there are a lot are given freehold lease in Malaya. Then it is forever a freehold property. This is from my past dealing with them, as I sell a lot of property and deal with so many properties in Malaya are freehold. In my past 18 years experience on dealing in the real estate, and I come across many Malayan properties that are held on lease of freehold property. Okay, and whereas in Sarawak, we hardly find a freehold property. So when PBK formed the Sarawak government, we will definitely put it at our top agenda to look into the land leases so that we Sarawakian have security in their holdings. Thank you, Eric.
All right. Thank you, Jamie, for the influence of land title. Yes, freehold hardly or rarely found in Sarawak. Our top agenda to secure the land for our Sarawakian. Yeah, we will go through the suggestion from our Facebook follower. Yeah, let me go through. If you have any question, please drop your message. Let me check any comments on our screen. All right, this question, Mr. Peter Asud. Infrastructure for rural area is our utmost priority if PBK in power. This must take place come Sarawak election 12. This is a comment from Mr. Peter Asud. Thank you, Mr. Peter. Any more? Let me check. Yeah, these are from our Mr. John Lee. We need to look few things here. Public transport. If too many vehicles on the road, can you imagine the traffic? This comment from the Mr. John Lee. Yeah. Any others comments? Okay, this is from he who. It is fair to have any property disposal after 5 years from the date of acquisition still subject to real property gains tax 5% for individual. This is the question from he who. Okay, our three speaker who can respond. Okay, Miss Jamie.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, at the moment, we have free property can tax until end of this year. Okay. Previously, after 5 years, even though you dispose your property after 5 years, you still have to pay 5%. But last year, during MCO, the announcements is we have free property can tax. Okay, anytime from now, you can sell your individual property up to three units, and then it's free property gain tax until end of this year. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Jamie, for the question. This from Petrio. There are condominium developments or apartment developments still haven't got their strata title due to the incorporation with native quota. How to solve this? Land was converted from native land to mixed zone land. Any our special? Yeah, Mr. Raymond.
Okay, this is an issue even to get land and survey to issue the land title. A normal housing development for a normal title to come out usually is 5 to 5 years. Is considered as very, very good. And on average, it takes about 8 years for a title to be issued. So when you talk about those sort of title native land conversion, this is one area where land and survey is very, very cautious because of the native condition, all these things. So they have to go and make sure and check all those things are properly done. So all these things takes time because why? Land development, housing development is not only confined to Kuching. The whole Sarawak is going to that development. So there are so many approvals and things to go through. So it takes time. Even for normal houses, it takes about 5 to 8 years to get a title. So for condominium with strata title, I can tell you, they will go through all this to make sure that it's done through properly and no hanky-panky and no loopholes. All loopholes are covered. So I think we need to be patient on all these issues, because even to develop native land, they already give the developer a condition what to develop, how to develop, following the condition. So upon getting a title, also they have to be very careful. You know why? Because it's quite simple. Once they give you the title, means they have you are the owner already, right? Not. So that's why they have to be very careful to make sure that all these things be issued properly and there's no hanky-panky, and that process takes time. Also, that's why I would say that I hope it answers Patrick's question.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Okay. Let me check. This one is from Mr. Roger. The issue of native lands a pain in the neck. We need to change the current land code. This is the comment from the Mr. Roger. Okay. And the current land code is extremely unfair to the natives. This also comment from the Mr. Roger. Any more? The comments. This native lands always less value than mixed zone land. Not fair to native land. This is message from Mr. Andy. Thank you, Mr. Andy. Yeah, thank you for lot information of land, NCR land issue. This is from Si In Ki. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Okay. Another, this is just now I already read already from Mr. Pitasut. Infrastructure for rural area. Okay. All right. We are almost to the end of our FB Live tonight. Any others additional or conclusion for tonight's topic on our Sarawak land and property? Miss Deborah?
Yeah, I want to share a news report that I've read on Asia One on October 22nd, which was posted on October 22nd, 2014. That Brunei's government, they offered her citizens not the high-rise public housing like Singapore's BDC, but they actually give them landed bungalow houses. The sizes of the land averaged from about 400 square feet meters now, which is around 10 points for us Sarawakians. We use the point metrics to count. So it's around 10 points. And the cost of the land and house is less than 260,000 ringgit. The house buyers they are given 30 years of interest-free loans and can opt out of buying if they choose after a trial period of living there for 3 months. So they can testing the house. Sarawak is a huge landmass. We have a very huge landmass, and there is therefore a lot of land, ample of land, ready for all sorts of development, be it residential, commercial, even agriculture, from farming to plantation to manufacturing, or even processing plants. Sarawak also have the riches to back up such developments. For 58 years, Sarawak has seen her riches being used to develop Malaya, while Sarawak is being made to wait for her turn to be developed. Development in Sarawak is embarrassingly slow. We don't even have a usable highway. Correct, Raymond?
Yes, correct.
I believe Jamie also agrees to that. We don't really have a very good highway. Our public transportations are at best clanking along a lot of potholes here and there, and muddy rivers. The other day, I just saw a lorry driving
The Pan-Borneo
through,
Highway.
Pen,
driving
yeah.
through the
Pen,
river.
PAIN.
The river, the place is flooded with water, and yet the lorry, because they have to do their job, and the people in the land, the Hilux also have to pass through the road. They just drove through like that. It's we are not rich. We are not poor. Sarawak is very rich. We are rich with natural resources, and not only natural resources, but also with talented people. We are rich with talents. So we deserve to be a developed country such as our neighbor Singapore. We deserve to be well taken care of like our neighbor Brunei. So rise up, Sarakians. Take up the authority that is in your hand. You are very powerful. We are very powerful. We can be an independent country. Through Parti Bumi Kenyalang, let's win this. For our future generations, for our country, for our beloved Sarawak. Agree? Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Deborah. Yeah, Mr. Raymond, do you have any other additional to add on for tonight?
Yes, Eric, just to summarize,
please.
to add on, it has to go back to what I talked about the importance of land. Especially, I'm now talking to our brothers, our dialect brothers, irrespective what dialect you speak, you have got the most land in your hand. It is
Mhm.
called communal land, and some of them is native land. It's high time that your land be created and turned into value. You cannot continue to, we cannot, all of you cannot continue to live and continue like this in the status quo, because why? You can be so rich, you can be so well to do. Someone is blocking you, someone is blocking you from creating wealth. And that is the time for you, for all our Sarawakians to wake up. That's why Parti Bumi Kenyalang comes together. We are not a party of any race. We are a party of Sarawakians. We have got one race. That race is called Sarawakian. We're going to move forward as one race. Even though we come from different background or different dialected group, but then under that context, under Parti Bumi Kenyalang, there is no race. There is one Sarawakian moving forward. That is why you see Parti Bumi Kenyalang coming together, going to do something which the present government should have done. What is it that we see that they did not see for 58 years? And now, Parti Bumi Kenyalang, these simple people coming together to do the heavy lifting. So therefore, I ask all Sarawakians, especially our Dayak brothers, give Parti Bumi Kenyalang a chance. When you give Parti Bumi Kenyalang a chance, you are giving yourself a chance. Because why? We're going to make it different. People say cannot be done, but Parti Bumi Kenyalang say yes, it can be done. You don't even have to go to fight your land in the High Court and win the case in the High Court in here, and then go to KL, go to the Court of Appeal, Federal Court, you lose. Because NCR land, PNPG, has got no force of law in West Malaysia. The judges sitting down there are all West Malaysian. You go down there, your case is thrown out. You lose the case. The worst thing is that you lose the case is one thing, but you spend so much money paying for the lawyers to fight for you. At the end of the day, some of you don't even have money to pay. You have to borrow from your friends and relatives to pay them. And some of them say, I don't have money already, I give up, I don't want to fight anymore. After fighting for so long, you give up. So today, Parti Bumi Kenyalang come and tell you, we're going to give you a solution. But in order for us to solve your problem, you have to trust us. You must give us a chance by voting us. You can give us a chance. Okay, I give you a chance in the next PRN 13. Do you want to suffer another PR 13 10 years before you get the thing done? You should get it done as soon as possible. If it is tomorrow, can be done, get it done tomorrow. Because it is your property. Why should you let your property be held ransom by somebody else? Get it back. Hold ownership to it. That's one thing. Next thing is that 50% of most of the land are owned by Sarawakians, which are Dayak. Why are you not taking advantage of it? Why are you still listening or not making a mindset change? Change your mindset. Have faith in Parti Bumi Kenyalang. Give us a chance. Let me tell you why. This land issue is not today's problem. It has been 180 years since the Brooke rules time, 1841, when James Brooke, the Brooke family came. Until now, 2021 is 180 years in the making. And yet today, the NCR land issue is not been resolved. You tell me they don't have a solution? They have, but they look the other way. They knew the solution, but they're not willing to do the right thing. So that's why it is. So if these people are not willing to do the right thing, then you say, okay, who are the people who are going to help us? I'm going to support them. Give Parti Bumi Kenyalang a chance. It's only 5 years. If Parti Bumi Kenyalang cannot deliver the thing, the next 5 years, PRN 13, you vote them out. At least you say, okay, you have spoken to me. I've heard you loud. I have heard you loud and clear. So therefore, I'm going to give you a chance in PRN 12. This coming state election, I'm going to vote you in. I want to see whether you live up to your word. If we don't perform, you vote out. If we perform, by all means, support us again. That is very important. That's why a journey begins with the first step. And that first step is with you. You must take the first step. If you don't make the first step, we cannot push you to make the first step. We are there waiting for you to take the first step. We want to be the enhancer to help you to get your thing done, to get your job done. But you must trust yourself and have faith and believe in Parti Bumi Kenyalang. Let me tell you the reason why. If you can have the land converted into mixed zone or native title land, I can tell you the mixed zone land in Sarawak will come down because there will be a low averaging. There will be all averaging means they're buying and selling. The market forces will come into play. Then the value of the land all Sarawak will come down and average out. Because of this average out, then the building of the houses will come down. Then there will be more affordable houses coming in because the land price has come down due to more land available in a free market economy. In that case, then the house will be more affordable. That's why, to answer Jenny, say these people cannot own the house because the land price is very high. And then the native land cannot be developed. Once you develop, because so many conditions, developers are not keen to do it. So that's the problem. How we can solve the problem is to change the land code, bring everybody together and have a final solution. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why Sarawak becoming independent is so important. Take for example now, for example now, if you have got 10 million in your pocket now, if Sarawak becomes independent, the currency might be like Singapore or Brunei. Means that currency may be three times the current value. If you have got 10 million in your pocket now, when Sarawak become independent, you got 30 million. Overnight, you got 30 million. You don't even have to
I wish that.
you become rich automatically because Parti Bumi Kenyalang became independent. All of you be very rich. From a Chinese businessman to everybody, you'll be very rich. Everybody, inclusive of the native. Your land will be created, you have got value. Why I say your land will be value? Take for example now, the NCR land. If you have got 20 acres of NCR land, we give you a title, and that area happens to worth 10,000 an acre. You got 20 acres. You multiply 20 acres by 20,000. You have got 10,000. Then you have got 200,000. Immediately you have got value. We have created value for you. With that 100,000, that piece of land, you can even do something on it. You can go to the bank and borrow a loan and do business, agriculture, and whatever business you want. You can enrich yourself by enhancing and build great value for yourself. Not even for yourself, even for your children. Can you imagine the importance of that? So that's why I said it's so important that Sarawak must exit. When you exit, one more thing. When Sarawak exit, Sarawak has almost zero debt. You know why zero debt? Because we don't own anybody money. We are so rich. So when we have a good start, we don't own any money. That is very important. Secondly, there will be so many embassies opening up in Sarawak. There's so many banks coming in. There's so many airlines coming in. Can you imagine the beautiful of Sarawak going independent? We are able to do it. Those people who say we cannot do it, that's not true. We are not true because we are so rich and we have got the potential to develop it. It's a matter of, the question goes back to us. Do you want it or not? You want to make it happen or not? That is the thing. You have to ask yourself, because why? Parti Bumi Kenyalang cannot make anything happen unless you take the whole thing and have faith in Parti Bumi Kenyalang, then we can get it done. Trust us once only. We're going to ask you just once, 5 years only. After that, if you don't perform, you go. So in the end, congrats, fellow Sarawakians. Tonight, I'm going to talk to every one of you. I'm addressing the people of Sarawak to do one thing. Be honest to yourself. Be fair to yourself. Why do you want to do something to yourself which you think you have done better? Do not do that. For the sake of yourself, for the sake of your children, for the sake of your grandchildren, do it once for Parti Bumi Kenyalang. Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, very well said, Mr. Raymond. Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Yeah, please remember, we want to create value on your native land for Sarawakian. Yeah, Miss Jamie, any from you for topics tonight?
Okay, thank you, Eric. All right. Recently, I have saw many cartoons, pictures going around in the Facebook group chat and social media that shows Sabah and Sarawak generosity in feeding Malaya for the past 58 years. And Sarawak have been left behind in every aspect, especially in the development of our motherlands and her people. Can you imagine our fellow Sarawakians not being able to own a house? And how is that justifiable when Sarawak is a rich oil and gas country? Let us look at the Brunei, Dubai. Both are also countries that rich in oil and gas. Brunei government provide their rakyat with subsidies so that they can own a house. In fact, I have heard the actual story of how Brunei's government used every effort to search high and low for each citizen to ensure that the allocated subsidized houses are rightfully transferred to each citizen. This is the sort of government that we want, where you will be searched out and forced to take a house and own it. Right. Today,
Yes,
Eric, if you be searched out and forced you to get a house, to own that house, like what Deborah has said just now, do you want it?
Yes, we want.
Right, Deborah?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. Let us look at Dubai and Abu Dhabi again. Their government encouraged their rakyat when they age 18, encourage them to take subsidized house already. Furthermore, their people, after working 15 years, they can retire comfortably, especially the women force. Okay, female workforce, okay, they can retire early retirement after 15 years working. Their government gives their people free education, free tax, free interest loan, etc. We have heard about it so many times. And in the oil and gas rich country, every citizen in the country has a justifiable expectation to be wealthy and looked after by their government. God is so kind to Sarawak. God bless our land, our Sarawak, with perpetual renewable incomes in the form of marine wealth and the oil and gas. I want to call up every Sarawakian. We must help ourselves. Let's join hands to free Sarawak. Do you want to free ourselves? Parti Bumi Kenyalang, PBK, we want to free Sarawak from the yoke of Malaya so that all Sarawakians can enjoy this God-given wealth. My fellow Sarawakian, my family, I love this motherland that we are all living in. Will you stand with me in this fight? Will you stand with Parti Bumi Kenyalang in this fight? Let us fight together to claim back our land. Let us stand together to take back our inheritance that rightfully belongs to us.
Yes.
I said it again. I urge all Sarawakians to give Parti Bumi Kenyalang the mandate to form the Sarawak government during this coming 12 Sarawak general elections. so that Parti Bumi Kenyalang can set Sarawak free through the claiming back of her international rights to independence. God bless Sarawak. Thank you, Eric.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. So, tonight's message to our Sarawakian. We want and we must hand in hand with PBK on fighting to free Sarawak, our motherland. Yeah, it's the
Yes.
time we end our topic for tonight. Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned and so glad to have you always supporting us on our FB Live and also our speakers too. Thank you. God bless you and your family. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Eric, thank
Thank
you.
you,
Bye-bye.
Good night.
everyone.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Stay safely. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.